In honor of everyone's favorite cyborg from the One Piece Straw Hat crew, I decided to make the burger from the One Piece cookbook, but it's pretty basic. So I'm gonna try my own spin on a burger to give it the style and flair worthy of Franky and make it really super. What a time to be a One Piece fan. I can't wait to start watching the anime again. I stopped watching after the whole cake arc, and I'm waiting for the Wano arc to wrap up so I can binge everything. On top of that, the One Piece live action adaptation is coming out in a couple of weeks, and I really hope it's going to be good. It'll be interesting to see the Straw Hats in live action. Unfortunately, some of our favorite members won't be there since they'll join later on, but to celebrate our missing members, I wanted to make one of their favorite foods from the One Piece cookbook. According to Oda, Franky's favorite foods are hamburgers, fries, and anything that goes well with cola. After all, he literally lives and breathes cola. So because he loves hamburgers, I decided to make the hamburger recipe from the One Piece cookbook. But after I made it, I realized that it's just your typical burger. You got your lightly toasted bun, mayo, mustard, bacon, beef patty with melted cheese on top, red onions, lettuce, tomato, pickles, ketchup, and top bun. Don't get me wrong, I love a standard bacon cheeseburger, but I think this is going to be a pretty boring video if I just went with that. Instead, I want to do something with pizzazz, something eccentric and over-the-top crazy like our boy Franky. So just like how he did some body mods post time skip, we're going to make some burger mods to turn this regular burger into a super burger. Let's start with the buns. I want to do something different to really highlight Franky's most voluptuous body part. No, not his actual buns. I'm talking about these perfectly spherical shoulders he got when he upgraded to the BF37. That's going to be our inspiration for the buns. Now, I'm terrible at baking, but I have made burger buns successfully before, once, and that was when I made a burger from the Halo cookbook by Victoria Rosenthal, so shout out to Victoria for including a recipe that even I can do. First, to make a flour paste, the recipe calls for 3 tablespoons of bread flour and 1/3 cup of milk. Mix these in a small saucepan and heat it to medium-high while consistently whisking. Once you get to this consistency, take it off the heat and let it cool. Then in a small bowl, combine a tablespoon of instant yeast with a 2/3 cup of milk that's been heated up to 100 to 110 degrees Fahrenheit and let this sit for 5 minutes to activate the yeast. Then in a stand mixer, mix together 2.5 cups of bread flour with 1.5 teaspoons of salt and a tablespoon of sugar. Add in the flour paste and also the yeast milk and 1 egg. Then while it's mixing, add in a 1/4 cup of butter, a tablespoon at a time. Finally, add in some red food coloring to get this bright red like Franky's shoulders. I used about 10 drops, I think. Let this knead together for 5 minutes. Transfer the dough to an oiled bowl, cover, and let it rest for an hour, and it's supposed to double in size. I'm crossing my fingers that it actually does. Did it double in size? Yes! Give it a strong right and knead it with your hands. Divide the dough into 8 parts as equally as you can and shape them into round balls. Place them on a parchment paper lined baking sheet and cover them with plastic wrap and let them rest for 30 to 60 minutes so they grow in size again. Finally, pop these in the oven at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for 16 to 19 minutes. We're going to revisit these buns later. Now, we all know Franky loves cola and he literally stuffs himself full of that stuff because he uses it as fuel. So I'm going to try to infuse as much cola in this beef patty as much as possible. For this, I'll be using 1.5 pounds of ground beef, add to that a large egg, a 1/2 cup of cola, a 1/2 cup of breadcrumbs to absorb all that cola and keep moisture in the patty so it doesn't get dry. Season that with a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Combine this all together really well. We're going to come back to this in a bit. Now let's get some more cola goodness by making some cola barbecue sauce. In a small saucepan, add in 1/2 cup of cola, 1/2 cup of ketchup, a 1/8 cup of Worcestershire sauce, 3 tablespoons of steak sauce, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, a teaspoon of garlic powder, and a 1/4 cup of molasses because I want this rich and thick. I cooked this down to try to get it to thicken up, but it's taking longer than expected, so I added a cornstarch water mixture to try to thicken it up. Yeah, this should be good. Next, fry up some bacon. Bacon. When crispy, take them out and let them dry on a paper towel lined plate. Now we have all the components for our burgers. I'm going to take the ground meat mixture and press them down as thin as possible. I'm using this plate to press it down. I'm going to be making them thin because in the middle I'll be adding some of that cola barbecue sauce as well as some bacon and adding another thin patty on top to effectively create a cola barbecue bacon stuffed burger. So with a cola in the meat and cola in the filling, I'm hoping we'll have enough cola in there to give Franky the fuel that he needs. Before we cook these up, let's work on the cheese. We got the red from his shoulders, but the Franky look isn't complete without calling out his sky blue hairstyles and the gigantic forearms to match. So how can I incorporate blue in this burger? Why, with cheese, of course. Blue cheese. In a bowl, mix together 1/3 cup of mayo, 1/3 cup of sour cream, a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, and 2 teaspoons of Worcestershire sauce. Once well combined, add in 1/2 cup of those funky blue cheese crumbles, a pinch of salt, and some light blue food coloring. I only added a few drops because I wanted it to have the same lightness as Franky's color scheme. Now I know blue might not be the most appetizing of colors, but come on, we needed to complete that Franky look. Now we can go ahead and grill those burgers. I don't have an outdoor grill, so I'll be using this tabletop grill press instead to cook the burgers. Now I know what you're thinking. Why press the burgers down? Wouldn't the added weight just squeeze all the sauce inside out? Well, to that I say, because I'm dumb, that's why. Yeah, the sauce filling kind of leaked out, but I'm hoping being cooked in its juices will still impose all that cola goodness in it. Once that's done, let's assemble the burger. Base bun first, then a layer of mayo to seal the bread and protect it from getting soggy, our cola burger, a slice of tomato, a smothering of that blue cheese sauce. For the top bun, I'm going to try to replicate that decal on his shoulder that says BF37. I'll be using strips of processed cheese and I'll pop it in the toaster for a little bit just to melt it. Then I put some ketchup in a piping bag with a very fine nozzle to draw and spell out the star and the lettering. BF stands for Battle Franky, but in this case it's gonna be Burger Franky. Place that on the top burger, and this is my attempt to make a funky Franky-inspired burger based on his own design. Let's chow down on these. Is this just style over substance? First bite was surprisingly very pleasing. It's one of those kinds of burgers where you have to dislocate your jaw to get a good mouthful. The bun has a nice firm texture. I was afraid the extra food coloring was going to mess it up, but no, it's pretty good. The most prominent flavor you get right away is the blue cheese. You immediately get hit with that salty, earthy funk. If you don't like blue cheese, you'll absolutely hate this. But I dig that kind of stuff. I was wondering if the blue cheese was going to go well with a cola burger, and it's not a bad combination. The cheese cuts through the subtle sweetness of the burger. All that sauce is melted into the patty, but the bacon is still there, and it still provides some nice crunchy bits of texture when you bite. But to be honest, the blue cheese is so strong that I think it's kind of off balance. Let's right that wrong by dipping this whole thing in that cola barbecue sauce. Oh yeah, that's the way to go. You get more of the sweetness and zing this way, and it's way tastier. Now, is this better than the classic burger recipe from the One Piece cookbook? To be honest, no it's not. Nothing beats a classic burger. I've tried many gimmicky burgers, but nothing is ever going to beat that time-tested combination of a regular cheeseburger. But if Franky has taught us anything, it would be that sometimes it's really fun to experiment, whether it be in the shipyard or in the kitchen.